Hi YouTube and welcome back to my random thoughts on Thursdays. This week I'm doing the Childfree Tag. Alright, so every now and again I like doing a little tag video just because I can't think of anything else better to do. And I figured, I came across the Childfree Tag online and I was like, oh, well, that fits me perfectly, so I'm going to do it. And if anyone wonders who I'm tagging for this, anyone out there who's watching who's also child-free, I tag you to, either answer the questions in the comments below or, put up your own video and put a link to it in the description below. Not the description, in the comments below. Either way, I would love to hear your thoughts on these questions as well. Getting right into it. Question 1. Do you dislike children? No, actually, I don't dislike children at all. I dislike unruly children, but typically that's the fault of the parent. So I dislike parents who have no discipline. I don't dislike children as a whole. Number 2, why did you opt out of parenthood? Well, to be perfectly honest, I've just never had a desire to raise children, and it looks like a lot of hard work, and I have a lot of other things I want to do with my life, and I didn't want to sacrifice the other things I wanted to do just to have children. And since I didn't really want children, I didn't have the desire, I don't have the overarching need to procreate, so I was like, well, if I don't want a child, why should I have one? It just kind of made logical sense to me. Number 3, do you think your childhood experiences and or your parents' actions influenced your decision? Possibly. Obviously I was an unwanted pregnancy from my mom. I was a product of a one-night stand, so that probably factors into to a degree. But to be perfectly honest, just bottom line at my core, I don't have a desire for children. My mom didn't either. I was a complete accident. And I've since taken steps to make sure that same accident doesn't happen to me. But, perhaps part of that, but part of it is also, I think, just genetic. And I'm the first woman in the line of my family that actually has successfully not gotten pregnant. Number 4, what is the most common comment you get when people find out you're child-free? At my age, I don't get a lot of comments anymore. I'm into my 40s. A lot of people have kind of come to accept that I'm child-free. But early on, when I would reveal that I was child-free, I would get a lot of negative reactions. The most common one was like, oh, you're being so selfish. Like, how am I being selfish by not having children? How is that a selfish act? I actually think in some ways having children can be a selfish act. Not always. There are, I think, there's people out there who purposely get pregnant to go on welfare, and therefore live off of other taxpayers' money. I think that's a selfish thing to do. But the actual act of not having children, I don't see that as being a selfish thing, and I don't know why people see it that way. That never made any sense to me whatsoever. Okay, number 5, do you have any child-free friends or relatives? I have a lot. First of all, my aunt and uncle never had children, consciously decided not to have children. And my social group here where I live, most of my friends are child-free. I started going to child-free meetups 10, 12 years ago. Started with No Kidding in Denver, and then there's a kind of a local enclave up here. We don't belong to the No Kidding group in the country. We're just kind of our own thing. And we've had parties together, and we go out to movies together, and just do a lot of things together, mainly because we don't have children and we don't have to have a babysitter and all that kind of stuff. Now, I do have friends who have children and love them passionately, but A lot of my friends are child free. It's just natural, because a lot of the friends that I had before, that I made before they had children, we used to hang out together, go to the mall together, and go shopping, and go to lunch and everything. But once they had kids, they started hanging out more and more with other moms, and it's just kind of a natural thing that happens. And I still see them on occasion, or I see them on Facebook and that kind of thing, but we've lost touch a lot just because they're more into parenting and raising their children, and don't have as much time for their friends who don't have children, because they want to have play dates and have someone else that their child can play with, so that they can take a little break and talk with other adults and things. And it's a natural thing. So, all right. Number 6, do you think people are aware that parenthood is a choice? I think educated people definitely. I don't know if everyone is aware of that, although I think the awareness is becoming more and more prevalent now that we have access to the internet, and people are having conversations across cultural and socioeconomic divides that didn't happen before. And so that awareness is starting to spread. There's a lot of judgment behind that. There's people out there who never would have considered it a choice. It's just something that happens, and they're now being exposed to this concept, and there's some resistance, obviously, but I think awareness is starting to spread, to be perfectly honest. Number 7, how do you feel react when your loved ones announce they're expecting? I'm happy for them. I congratulate them. Pretty much everyone that I know that has had children purposely wanted children, had a great desire to have children, planned and prepared for the having of the children. They're all educated and everything else. And so I'm like, this is something that they want in their lives, and I'm happy for them. Bottom line, it's their life, it's their choice. Just like it's my life and my choice not to have children. What is the most ridiculous criticism you've ever received? Well, it's kind of a, they're calling it a bingo, which I actually had to look up, but it's basically a criticism of my life choices, and it goes back to just being called selfish, or who's going to take care of you when you're older, and that's another question further down the list and stuff. But yeah, it's basically just being accused of being a very selfish person, which again, I don't understand. Number 9, are you worried that you might one day regret your decision? Not at all. I have never wanted children. I knew as early as the age of 12, once I kind of found out about the whole child rearing process in the first place, and I was like, I don't want to do that. A part of me kind of always assumed I would, just because that's what people did, until I became more aware of the fact that some people chose not to, and I was like, oh, well, if I don't have to, then I'm not going to. And that was that. And back in 2000, when I was 28, I ended up developing a condition that required surgery in that particular region, and I basically had to have an ovary removed, and I won't go into details, but I was like, I told my doctor, since you're down there, could you give me a tubal ligation? And this was before I was 30, and she was very hesitant about it, and a lot of doctors refuse to give a woman under a certain age a tubal ligation. As they're, what if you change your mind? And there's always worried about litigation and liability, and being sued for malpractice because they didn't talk me out of a poor decision and that kind of thing. But she saw that I was very, very adamant. In fact, when she saw my reaction of, oh, but we may actually have to take both ovaries, I was like, really? Wow. I was actually kind of happy about that. I was scared to death that I might be dying of cancer, but that's neither here nor there. But she saw that I was actually kind of relieved to possibly be sterilized. And so I said, well, what if you don't end up having to take both of them? could I have a tubal ligation? And she really, really was not comfortable with it, but she finally agreed. I had to sign like a pile of paperwork saying that I would never sue her over that decision and that kind of thing. But I have never once regretted that decision. You know, I'm already into my 40s now, and I still don't regret that decision, and I don't see myself ever regretting it. Number 10, don't you want to experience getting pregnant? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Morning sickness? Doesn't even appeal to me. The pain, the discomfort, I mean, why would anyone want to go through that? Ugh, just no. Number 11, is your current partner child-free as well? Yes, he is. I met my husband at one of those many child-free parties that I've gone to over the years, and we met, let's see, we met 8 years ago at a party. Took us about a year before we started going out, and now we've been together 7 years, and almost, well, 6.5 years, and we've been married a year and a half. How's that for complicated? Number 12, is it possible to be in a happy, fulfilling relationship without children? Yes. My husband and I are very happy together. Because we don't have children, we have obviously more income that we could spend on ourselves, and I guess maybe that's where oh, you're so selfish because you're spending money on yourself instead of having children to spend on. Again, doesn't really make that much sense, but okay. But we can travel, and we have traveled. We've traveled to Europe, we've traveled to Puerto Rico and so the Caribbean and Central America, and we've just, you know, bought ourselves a really nice home, and we've just had, you know, a really good time together. We travel really well together. If we want to go out to dinner, we can go out to dinner anytime we want to. We don't have to try to arrange a babysitter. And we certainly would never want to bring children with us to a restaurant. That's one thing I don't understand these days, is back when I was a child, when the adults wanted to go out to eat, when I was very young, they got a babysitter. I did not go with them. And once I got a little older, I was disciplined very carefully on proper table manners, so that when they did take me to a restaurant, I sat there quietly, ate my food, and I behaved myself. Children these days don't seem to have any discipline or any table manners or anything. They're running around and screaming and things. So my husband and I, we tend to gravitate towards more higher end restaurants where that doesn't happen as often and is generally not tolerated as well. But no, our relationship is very, very fulfilling, and we just enjoy our time together because we're not overly stressed or tired because we're not getting enough sleep or running after the children all the time and that kind of thing. So I think it actually makes our relationship better in the long run. Number 13, define parenthood in one word. Work. And if I'm allowed 2 words, hard work. Or at least, if I define it in one concept, hard work. And yeah, okay, if you want to call me lazy for not wanting to have to do the hard work of raising a child, fine, go ahead. I have other things to do in my life than, wiping poopy bottoms. Number 14, do you think you would be a good parent? Why or why not? To be perfectly honest, I don't think I would be a good parent. I have a very short temper. I am very intolerant. I would probably yell and scream far too much. I believe in spanking, which a lot of people don't think is a good thing to do to a child anymore. And so I'd probably get arrested for whacking my child on the bottom in public, and having the wrong people see me do it. So in the long run, no, I don't think I would be a good parent. Number 15, do you have pets? Yes. And follow on, do you think you transfer the nurturing and love intended for a child onto your pets? Probably a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that nurturing that I do for our dogs and our cat could possibly be the same type of nurturing that I could do for a child. The difference there is, one, they cost a lot less, and two, there's a lot less expectation. I mean, they're not going to grow up and have to go to college, and I have to worry about them dating, and I don't have to worry about them moving out on their own and having bad roommates, and all the things that come along with raising a child. Basically pets are perpetual toddlers, if nothing else. They're not infants. They can take care of themselves better than a small child can, but have about the intellect level of like a 2-year-old, or less. And you can cuddle them and snuggle them, and they don't scream and cry, and I don't have to wipe their bottoms. I do have to pick up their poop, but there might be a little bit there, but it's a different experience. So it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, to be perfectly honest. Number 16, which child-free stereotype do you not fit? Well, one of the stereotypes is that anyone who doesn't want children must hate children. I don't hate children. I said that earlier. I babysat kids for 9 years, and I loved all the kids that I babysat, with maybe one exception. There was one family that I ended up having to stop babysitting. They drove me to tears, but for the most part, I loved all the kids I babysat. They were all really great kids, and I actually am Facebook friends with a bunch of them now. They're all grown up and making me feel old, but I love them. And I ended up, I got my undergrad degree in elementary education. I wanted to be a teacher. I student taught a classroom full of first graders in Chicago, and it was such a rewarding experience. And so, yeah, I don't hate children. Number 17, is it hard to find a child-free partner? I think it depends on where you live. We have such a wonderful community of child-free people where I live. So finding a child-free partner here was not difficult. It took me a few years, and I dated around quite a bit, but it really wasn't that difficult to find men that didn't want children, and to find one that suited me for the long run. Number 18, which label do you prefer, child-free or childless? Definitely child-free. I freely choose not to have children. I'm not childless. Childless is the term that's been used for centuries for women who were barren and sterile, and couldn't have children, and oh, you poor childless thing, you. And no, I'm child-free. I chose to be sterilized. And so, no, I'm child-free by choice, and I prefer that term. Number 19. Do you actively encourage the people around you to think about their reproductive choices? Absolutely not. It's not my place to tell other people what to choose or what to think about or what choices to make in their lives. The same goes for, they have no right to tell me that I should be having children any more than I have a right to tell them that they shouldn't be. It's a very personal choice. And this kind of goes back to my my libertarianism and the fact that it's like, I have no right to judge how other people live their lives. As long as they're not hurting anyone, and I'm not hurting anyone by not having children. There's not a single person on this planet that is being tortured, maimed, or killed by my choice of not having children. Now, some people may think, well, if you're child-free by choice, you're having abortions. Well, no, I had myself sterilized. I made sure I never had to face that choice. And I'm not going to go into that topic because that's a whole nother topic unto itself. Number 20, are you worried about who will take care of you when you're old? No. First of all, I'm pretty damn sure I can take care of myself for quite a while in my older age. Every woman in my family has lived to be over the age of 85 and independent, well into their 90s. For those who lived past 90, my grandmother's one sister just recently passed away at 102. She lived on her own and took care of herself until she was 96. So, you know, there's a good chance genetically that I don't have to worry about, who's going to take care of me. And then if I do, well, there's lovely nursing care facilities and everything else. And I am doing my best to put money aside for kind of longer term care if I need it when I'm older. And the last question, number 21, is what is the best part about being child-free? Well, being able to do what I want when I want. And that's combination of being child-free and self-employed. I make my own hours, but I don't have a child getting me up at 7 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever time parents typically have to get up. I, don't have to be running them around to soccer practice and this and that and the other. My life is my own, my choices are my own, and my life is not dictated by the needs of the life of the child. Now, my husband and I obviously give and take with each other in terms of what we both want to do and that kind of thing. But again, that's all choice. With a child, a lot of it is not choice. You have to take the child to the pediatrician. You have to take them to school. You have to make sure that they're have an enriching life and have an extracurricular activity that they want to do, and then you're obligated to take them to that. There's places that you generally don't go to with children, like fancy restaurants. Traveling is more restrictive because it costs more money. All these things that parents have to think about that as a child-free person I don't, and that in and of itself is what's the best thing about being child-free. Alright, thank you for watching this. If you're still watching my weekly update on my fitness and exercise, last week I actually did 5 days going to the gym, 45 minutes each. So that's good. This week I've had a lot of stuff going on. So today was my first day at the gym this week, and I have 3 more days I can go. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm definitely going to try and do Friday, Saturday. We'll see if I do Sunday or not, but if I can do Friday, Saturday, that'll be my 3 days this week. So I'm hoping to at least get the bare minimum in this week, if nothing else. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this tag video. And please leave questions, comments, answer the questions yourselves. I would love to hear your responses. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with other child-free people. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love a subscription. And I guess until next time, take care. Bye-bye.